welcome to the Nuff Said podcast. We have a big old booty bloated episode for you today because we didn't do it last week. And what a dumb idea this was, guys. There were 2 episodes last week and 2 episodes this week. So we're going to cram 4 episodes in here. I don't know how we're even going to bring up Deadpool. And I had other stuff I wanted to talk about. So I think we're just going to stick to Agent Carter, and then we will kind of address the other stuff another time, or who knows? Who knows? You know us. We'll probably get through 1 episode of Agent Carter, talk about Full House, and then we'll be, done. Did you guys see the review of that Fuller House?
No, but I saw the trailers, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
The review said it is the biggest pile of hot garbage ever. They're like, it's so bad, it could be the end of Netflix, but it won't be. I think it was AV Club reviewed it and just was like, it's awful. And the guy who wrote it thought it was going to be good.
Wait, it came out already? It was already released?
Well, a review copy, I'm sure.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw the review today. The guy was just like, it was a heartbreaker. He goes, I thought it was going to be good. He goes, it's not just bad, it's atrocious. Like a fanfic writer that has no talent wrote fanfic about Full House, and it turned into a show.
You know the review's going to be good when it starts. This could be the end of Netflix.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have to be horrendously bad.
So bad.
I mean, I love the Netflix, but there's some stuff, man.
Yeah, well, Full House might be it. So sorry, Alil. Welcome to the Full House podcast. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Rob Southgate.
I'm Jack Wengrosky.
And I'm Alil Kunica.
All right, you know what? Since this is going to be a long episode, we should give some social media up front. You can follow me at rsouthgate. You can follow the show. If you don't do this already, follow us on Twitter at NuffSaidPod. You can also find us on Instagram. I've been trying to do a thing where like every Monday, I think I've done it twice, I take like all this like different artwork about a specific character, and throughout the day I'll tweet out like all the Daredevil or I did all the Marvel Star Wars one day. I think this next week I'm going to just do a big Alex Ross one because I think I'm going to get to meet him in a couple of weeks, so I'm all excited. So find us on Instagram under Nuff Said Pod. And Facebook, too. Like us there. We need people to like these things and follow us and tell their friends. We want this show to grow. All right, that was me. Who's next?
I usually have a restraining order against all that paparazzi, but you can find me at Jack Wengrosky. Or Jay Wengrosky on Twitter.
You got it wrong.
See, that way you can't actually find me.
Right. And Jack, you're on Blacklist Pod. Are you guys coming back with Bosch Pod?
You know, as soon as it comes out. Absolutely.
Did you guys finish that series?
I think so.
All right. I don't remember.
I love that you don't remember.
Oh, good Lord. We have 86 titles in our network.
Not you, Jack.
Oh, Jack.
It's like, I think so.
Yeah, I don't have the time. We have 86 titles in our network.
Yeah, right.
I don't have the time.
Right. He's the smart one. He's going to get doctorate. I mean, you and I, it's like, da-da-da. I didn't mean to lump you in there a little. Sorry about that.
I'm pretty smart myself. I might act the fool.
He's a pretty fart smeller. I mean, he's a pretty smart feller.
Yeah.
True to
so
both.
Accurate.
True to both.
All right. Alil?
You can follow me at the League of Geeks podcast, and that's Geeks with a Z. And on Twitter, it's LOGEEKZ. Our website is theleagueofgeeks.com. And again, Geeks with a Z.
Awesome. Hey, I want to reveal something. Did we, because I haven't really talked about this on other shows, did we talk about the podcast marathon on here yet?
No, not with us.
Okay. So I want to bring this up for the Nuff Said listeners because you guys are so supportive of everything, and I want to make sure you know about it. I know it's a ways out, but October 1st at the Blue Box Cafe in Elgin, we are doing a podcast marathon. It's our second one. We did one last year. It was a lot of fun. It was 12 hours. This year, I don't know how long it's going to be. It's going to be at least 12. We have so many podcasts that want to be part of it, and then we've got our shows that we got to get in there. So it's going to be nuts. But if you can make it to Elgin, to the Blue Box, October 1st, if not, if you're like, dude, I'm in I'm 10 miles away. I can't drive that far, which sounds like us. We have, I know, that would totally be us, man. Alil, if it wasn't in Elgin where you live, you'd be like, I don't know, man.
Hey, I'm going to come up from Florida so these guys can put up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Nuff said is going to be live. But aside from that, we will be on YouTube Live. We'll be on Google Hangout, Meerkat, and Periscope, I hope, throughout the day. So there you go. We might even put it on Twitch. We took our stuff off Twitch, but that might be a day that we go back to Twitch. So, and Jack, you are actually coming up, huh? Officially?
Yeah. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I'm doing it.
How awesome, man. So this will be the first time the three of us have been in the same room doing this stuff.
I don't even know what you guys look like.
Hold on, I'll turn my camera on. Oh,
yeah.
That's Skype. You're
well, you're going to know because, I keep wanting us to do a blab, and I don't know how we're going to work that out. But I think when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back in a couple of weeks, I want to do this on Google Hangout. I want to do a video one. Are you guys down with that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's say
I'm going to get my good robe.
That just means I have to wear a shirt.
Yeah. Why?
Well, the tattoos the tattoos cover up most everything. So
yeah, the tattoo.
I just want I don't want to get the female audience that listens to this show excited.
Oh, you went a different way. I get you.
Yeah, that's a whole different show.
Right. So all right. So let's plan on that for that.
Or Phil. I don't want to get Phil excited.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Phil would love it. So we'll plan on that, and if we can put together a blab, we will, because I'm telling you guys, blab has I tried it twice now, and it's a blast. And I think it'd be fun if that wouldn't be the regular show, but if like once a week we could chime in on blab, and that way we can have interaction with you guys that listen. Because all you do when you have blab is you use the app, and like the three of us are in squares, kind of like the Brady Bunch, and then the fourth square is open, and if you want to chime in, you just hit join conversation, and we'll put you in there, and you're in there talking to us. You're part of the show. So we'll figure that one out. But I'm telling you, let's do that Google Hangout thing. I'll try to make it real obvious on the website and Facebook and everything what time we're doing it so people can join in. Cool?
Cool. Sure.
All right. We got limited time, man. What are we talking about? Let's jump into this thing. So episode, what are we doing? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. No, Agent Carter.
Jumping the gun there.
Season 2, episode 6, and season 2, episode 7. Where these are going to get all jacked together, I'm sure. Life of the Party and Monsters were the 2 episodes. So, initial impression. What'd you guys think? Do you guys just want to do all 4 at once and just make a big old hodgepodge?
I don't know. Just start.
Or can you break it up?
See where we go.
Well, 9 and 10. No, what is it? 8 and 9 are. I don't know. 8 is Edge of Mystery, and 9 is A Little Song and Dance. Okay, so
there's no podcast ever. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They will never, or Agent Carter. I don't even know what we're talking about.
Oh my gosh,
I'm pretty sure we were talking about Catwoman versus the Spider Girl.
Well, we're sitting here like talking about like, oh, we've got all this cool stuff going on. Who wants to come see this? I mean, seriously. Like they're like 12 hours of this. Seriously? No, we'll have other podcasts. They're good. Trust me. So
yeah, we'll be prepared by then.
Jack,
I highly doubt it.
It's been 3 years almost. We've not been prepared. We even stopped coming up with funny names at the beginning because we got such lack of preparation. I mean, seriously.
We like pretty much ran out of anything good.
Well, for us, once you get past 12 words, it's like,
Once you got past rambunctious for the 3rd time, I thought it was over.
Right.
But
reticulated.
So
I used reticulated.
Agent Carter.
Yeah. All right. So, initial reaction. What did you guys think? Alil, what'd you think?
The show was increasingly getting better. The story picked up. I like the I don't want to say twist, but it kind of seemed that the setup for Jarvis's wife was going to happen that way. She was getting close to the doctor. She was kind of being more involved, and you knew at some point somebody was going to have to sacrifice something. And it ended up being Jarvis. So it was, I like that. To me, this was one episode, 1 2-hour episode, because it kind of went in, just like last night's episode.
To me, it's one 4-hour episode that's all bleeding together. So I didn't remember that she got hurt in that one. I thought it was tonight's that I watched.
And do you think they kind of had some element that, the Jarvis, because in the future, there's no son of Jarvis. There's no continuation. That it almost kind of explains why there's no Jarvis Jr.
Oh.
And Jarvis becomes just kind of he's just a disembodied voice now for the family rather than, these things that go with the family business.
True.
I wonder if this is a little, maybe not for what?
I said maybe not for the family, but maybe for Tony. You know what I mean? Like, maybe because he can't have a son, how he was with Tony is why Tony wanted to, when Jarvis was dying or whatever, however the end of Jarvis happened, and to where Tony developed the AI for Jarvis. I think that's the connection, like why Tony is so passionate about Jarvis.
Well, and I actually, it did fill in a blank for me, because I thought kind of the same thing. I've always kind of felt, even from the comic books way back, it was similar to the Alfred Bruce relationship, where he's a surrogate father almost. And even though Stark was around, Howard was around, it wasn't like Tony was born and Stark was dead in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? He was around for a little while. I think that Jarvis was that surrogate father. Yeah, he raised him. So I thought this was really, I didn't put that connection together tonight, but that's because, I'm a little brain damaged tonight, but tonight only. But I think you're right, Jack. I think that was showing why Jarvis does end up taking that role of surrogate father. Yes, he loves his position. Yes, he loves the Starks, but I think it's deeper than that. And I think this showed us that.
Yeah. And again, I felt like the first two were a really good setup, but they were still setups. And at the time, it kind of disappointed me. And then
these two did?
Well, the first two, it was, things finally got moving, but I still knew after a double episode, I knew nothing more than I really had known when it started. Like, nothing had really happened. She still didn't have the rods, and the scientist, was kind of still in flux. And
yeah, it was a lot of setup for sure.
Right. And at this point in the game, I expected maybe a little more, but it all ramped up to the following two, which just exploded.
If we had done this episode last week, I actually had in my notes here that it didn't move the story forward, but I thought that the both episodes settled down better. I liked it a lot better. In fact, we were kind of busting on it early in the season. It wasn't until it was the episode before this, the episode before 6. It was 5 where we were all kind of saying, hey, it feels like it's getting it right again. I felt like 6 and 7 clicked in. And I think when we get to 8 and 9, I think 8 and 9 were pretty spot on. In fact, it added elements that I really kind of enjoyed. But I think they're doing better with Jarvis now, and especially in 8 and 9.
Right.
You guys agree with that?
I would have liked to see it. He still was a little petulant, I almost want to say, but he did toughen up quite a bit, and that was nice. I think if we took these last couple episodes, and instead of being 5, 6, 7, and 8, if those had been 2, 3, and 4, I think everybody would talk about how great the season is.
I agree. It was too slow a start, and the first episode, second episode, they were all right, but the third and the fourth were something was falling apart for me.
Yeah.
And then 5 is where it got back to it. And it's like, I think they hurt themselves by 1 and 2 being slow, 3 and 4 not being very good.
Yeah. And like I said, if they'd have started it there, boom. I think we'd be easily talking about season 3, and it was a good takeoff. I thought they did a really good job. It kind of makes me wonder now. I'm starting to think, okay, now what are they going to do with Whitney if they destroy her? Now I'm actually starting to think about past this.
Yeah.
And the possibilities, which is really cool.
Alil, you were going to say something there.
Yeah, I said they had too much fat in this show. There was too much repetitive talk in the show, too much repetitive backstory.
Yeah.
They really took, what was it, 10 episodes this season?
I think so. I think next week is the end.
Yeah, they took 6 episodes of story and made it 10. And I think by doing that, it diluted some of the stories. It gave characters weird motivations to be around. It fit here in these last 2 episodes. Jack Thompson's character, great.
Oh my gosh! Finally, right?
Everybody was great, but it seemed like for a while there, everybody was just going through motions.
Yeah.
Because they had to fill in time, and they wanted to develop Whitney. They wanted to develop more of Peggy, but again, there was unnecessary development of these characters.
Yeah, there was development that didn't really develop. It just kind of showed them.
Right. I mean, develop, if you're going to do stuff like that, develop Wilkes, because you're making him a very important character here, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But he's a character that has, in my opinion, more of a story and more of personality behind his character than even Whitney does.
Yeah.
And I think,
although I think Whitney was better here, I think they wrote Whitney better in the 8 and 9.
I do. But I'm saying, like, if you build up from the beginning, from where this thing started, again, they had too much. If they needed a filler, they should have given us some more of that.
Yeah.
Rather than some of this other excess stuff that made no sense, or give us more of the cabal, whatever this group was. I can't even remember their name anymore, but it's like, we initially thought this was like something.
I thought that was going to be the season. And it's not.
No, half of them were killed, and like 2 of them were left.
Well, and then we even found out in and I'm just going to jumble it all up. I don't care. We found out that Red is like, he's kind of middleman, and he was even like, his teeth were even taken out here.
That's the thing, though. Like, here's the problem: is where is really the big bad? It's not Winnie Frost. You know why? Because she's new to being the big bad. There has to have been a big bad prior to this, and they really didn't flesh that out. One of these guys should have had some kind of power. Should have made her. I don't know. I can't think of the right term here for it.
Well, once again, it didn't need to be a power. Let's go back to what we said. It should have been like a noir story. Had them solving like the Black Dahlia murder, and then you find out it's tied into the Marvel Universe. That is the way to go. Your big bad is that, but that big bad is then a MacGuffin, and you're okay with that when you get revealed about Whitney. But we didn't have that kind of story development. We had
a big bad in the council. We may have a big bad in Whitney, and you can't put your finger on it. We had even a big bad in the mafia guy, who now has really kind of taken a backseat to Whitney, and so you don't know where the focus is at all.
Oh God, he's terrible. He is a terrible character. This makes no sense to me at all.
He's just the Joker's caricature. Minions.
He's very much a caricature of like a cartoon mafia guy.
Yes.
His mama's serving spaghetti. Oh, don't talk. It's just like, oh my God.
Right. And the way he plays that whole thing, like, oh, Mom, I'm winning. And you're going, oh my God, stop. Please stop. It reminded me of, you ever see, here's going to be a poll. You ever see Barefoot in the Park?
No.
It's a Jane Fonda and Robert Redford movie. No, not Robert Redford. I don't remember who it is. But it's a really good movie. Really, really good, like 60s comedy. But in it, what's his name? The guy who was Andy Hardy. Now we're really going far back. He was in the Black Stallion. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney plays like a Japanese guy that lives above her. Okay? So right there, you're like, why is Mickey Rooney playing a Japanese guy? When you watch it, it is the most like racist, awful. It's like as bad as Jerry Lewis when he did the thing and we put the teeth in and he's like, whoa, that's what this is like. And this Italian guy is reminding me of that. I'm like, wow, did you guys write this for Mickey Rooney to play?
Wow, yeah, that it is pretty. It is really campy.
Yeah,
and he just
it's disappointing. Like I wanted more of a threat from this guy. Like when they do the exchange and
I wanted him to be dangerous.
It was so terrible. It was so terrible. Like
yeah, he seems like a little bipolar, and like he's just crazy. It's like, this is not a guy who could lead a criminal empire.
No.
He's the guy that the boss sends out to like whack people because he's not afraid to.
Well, you know what? That brings up a question I have. I thought before watching these episodes that he was just kind of a henchman. I didn't think he was like the boss guy. I thought he worked for Whitney's husband and he was like muscle.
No. They had that one meeting where I think he didn't work for him, but he understood that the senator had power.
Yeah, but did you think he was the main guy?
I thought he was the head of his gang. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's sitting at the table and everybody's playing up to him. Whitney has, I remember this guy that really liked me, who happens to be a mafia boss. So they go so that they have a standing army. You can't just do these. You can't just do these things by yourself. So that's where they need to go and get the muscle. But
I think that he was so inconsequential. Like I just didn't care, and that's why I'm a little confused. They should have made this guy a real threat. I think that's where tonally it's been weird. We don't have any real threats. Although, look, I'm saying this, but I'm going to jump ahead. Episode 9 starts with Peggy's like delusional dance number Dream. And I loved it. I loved it.
You know what?
It was like spot on.
I liked it. I didn't love it. And here's why. Because
You think you're a better dancer?
No, they did fine with all that. Jarvis at the end, everybody wake up. Here's a part where they could have snuck in a Captain America.
Yes.
She has two guys that are there.
Do you think that was going to happen?
It should have happened.
It should.
Well, they did it last time where she was actually standing alone waiting for him, right?
But this was the opportunity to do it. They really should have had him pop in there.
Right. They couldn't pull Evans off. I mean, they were filming Civil War during this. They couldn't have, hey, you know what? Let's film a real quick scene and we'll put it into you two dancing.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
I love the fact that Dottie was there and he says, "What are you doing in my dream?" And she says, "I will always be in your head."
Yeah, that was excellent. So you're right, Alil. It's disappointing that they didn't pull Captain America here, but you know what, man? I just really enjoyed that. And usually I'm the guy that doesn't like when they insert a musical number or a dancing. I'm always like, stupid. But I liked it. I liked it in the episode when Jarvis was dancing with Dottie. I thought that was a good scene. It reminded me of that S.H.I.E.L.D. scene that I like so much with May and Coulson. Right. And then I liked that. And then this took me by surprise. The whole time I'm like, this is funny. I get what's going on here. I know that she's knocked out. And it made sense that she'd have this like musical dream. Look like Singing in the Rain. I loved it.
And it's the first time in a while that they've done anything with the big band music, which that was the rock and roll of the day. That,
right.
When you think of
when they did last year, remember we would talk about what did they play,
Yeah. I mean, this could be they could have had this setting in almost any time period except maybe for the close. And you wouldn't have thought, oh, this is from 1940 to 1950.
Right.
There's, what's the first thing you think of? In the Mood or Begin the Begin. Those are the first things that come to mind for that whole time period. And this was the first time in a long time that they've actually brought that out. So
I did like when Jarvis's thing with what's her name, Anna, was Benny Goodman. I like that they were making those references too. I don't know. I was a big fan of these. This made me feel like, I'm disappointed that things are not looking good for this series because I do want it to continue. And as much as I've been busting on it, I felt like these were right. I felt like I was enjoying myself watching them, which, how often do you really say that about a lot of shows where it's just a good time?
And I think the why,
certainly not Full House.
I think the why behind that is that they've put her in something else. But Agent Carter's in that in-between slot when, nothing's really supposed to be happening. Maybe they'll
it's not officially
shorten
dead.
the break.
It's not officially dead. No matter what they say, she can be cast in whatever they want. This is a filler thing that goes in the middle. This does not affect that in any way.
Right. It's like you're repeating what I just said.
Yeah.
It's a filler time slot. Why can't she do this in something else? I think people were picking up on that and saying, oh, it doesn't look good. I think it just took they brought in new people, and the new people felt like they had to do backstory, and they just kind of annoyed everybody. But
like they're reestablishing the world or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we didn't need, but man, all right, let's go to the next two because, man, I was excited about that.
Well, here, wait. I'm going to run through
everything.
I'm going to run through the notes real quick. Wilkes needs a sample of zero matter to build the containment chamber. I like the containment chamber. Although, how weird is that? He built it so it's like 3 feet wide. It's like, dude, you should have made it a room so you could move around. Otherwise, what's he going to do? Sit in there forever? That was a little weird.
The first thing I thought of when he got the meal, oh man, I'm starving. What's the second thing you do after you have a meal? You got to go to the bathroom.
Hey, man, what are you going to do in there?
He's going to stick his butt out like one of the tubes?
I wonder if what he does, if it falls out and it's just invisible. Like everybody smells it like, oh, ghost poopy, where is it?
Or is it going to be like one of those little like solid balls from Futurama? Those little tiny guys with the
little black things?
Yeah. And
Alil, what were you going to say? Alil's like dying to say something about poo.
Well, I'm not. I was just like, I didn't realize you would go right after Jack. Like, your body does take some time to digest.
Well, I'm not going with exact science, but if something's got to go in, my first thought is something's got to come out.
Right. Jack is a finely tuned instrument. He eats, he goes. He eats, he goes. He eats. He's like a shark.
I like to think of it more as a garbage disposal.
Or a shart. All right.
Good save.
Yes.
So where were we?
All right. Let's see. I wrote Dr. Wexford, Peggy, Leviathan. I think they name-checked Leviathan. I like that. Dottie escapes. Peggy assists. I forgot this was all in this one. The electrified net gun was friggin' sweet. That was awesome. Dottie and Jarvis see Jack at the party. Want me to kill him? That was Dottie. That was good. You want me to kill him? He's like, no. Dottie got the sample and escaped, choking Whitney. Kills 2, then 4. Dottie lost the sample. Wilkes is jealous.
I forgot that was the beginning of the first hour.
Do you guys think Wilkes, I mean, I know you want more Wilkes story, but do you think he's kind of a putz? He just seems kind of wimpy to me.
Well, I think they abandoned the whole, like his whole story almost got just canned within minutes because the thing he's doing all this stuff. He's come up with this brilliant thing. And then like this love interest, the love interest like completely went away, and
well, not completely.
Everything with him has
gone
motivator
squirrely in the next 2 episodes.
And yeah, it just, I don't know, just none of what his personality was 2 episodes ago is left.
How weird was it when they were going to torture Dottie, I believe it was, and Red had like gyno tools? That was creeping me out.
Wait, Did I miss that? I did not.
Yeah, watch it again. What he pulls up are like, those are gynecological tools that he's pulling up. It's weird, man. Wilkes phasing out, kind of look like Back to the Future. Okay, there was a great line in this. Let's see if I can find the exact line. When she said the thing about being around Howard Stark, you pick up a few things, a few electronic things. Here we go. Jarvis says, one doesn't spend years in the company of Howard Stark and not pick up a thing or two about electrical engineering. And Peggy says, luckily you didn't pick up the clap. That was a good one. Let's see. Those are stupid lines. I thought this was great when Dottie says it takes more than 6 walls to hold me, and Peggy goes 6. I mean, we all knew. And Dottie goes, we're in a cube, Peggy. Try to keep. I loved Dottie in this. I thought she was funny. She's why the show started to work again.
I think that's why they put her in the dream sequence.
Yeah, true. Because that was the part when I all of a sudden was like, oh yes, in the dream sequence. Although I like when Sousa threw his crutch aside and started dancing.
I think Dottie's going to be her Joker. Like, just always coming back, always the nemesis, always, the opposite of Peggy. Like, no matter what happens, she's always going to be out there.
I like that idea. I'm fine with it. Let's see. It says Wilkes whole and he kisses Peggy. So there's the love interest thing. The jitterbug. They did the dance, right?
Yeah.
Trap set for Jason and Anna. Oh yeah, that's when Anna was shot by Whitney. That's where the episode ended, right?
Right.
Okay. So that wraps up those first two. Yeah, I liked a lot of the stuff in here. I thought that Jarvis was still a little bit cartoony, but I did like him more when he was front and center and not being comic relief. When he was at the dance with Dottie, that's when I was really like, okay, Jarvis is back. That's how Jarvis is supposed to be.
Right.
He should be like right in the mix, not like a puppy that like, oh, hey, I want to be in this, but not really. He should be right there, which also differentiates him from Alfred. Alfred should be there pushing Bruce along. I know they've changed his character over time and made him more of like he's former MI6 or whatever. Jarvis was already that.
Right.
And I think that this should be building into it where you see Jarvis is a man of action, but he works to be a butler because of the pride in it and all that. But he actually can step up and do the dirty work because Howard needs him to do that too.
Right.
Instead of just cleaning his underwear, which is how many times have we beaten that joke this year?
But that was the thing about the Batman is the butler was always, he took care of the house. He took care of the home base. And if something was a last resort or something, then Alfred came out and, okay, here's the key.
Right.
And he did it in such a way that was really stealthy and cool and then went back home. And, that's why would we still to this day continue to have a Jarvis if he was that kind of character? It's like they didn't even read the previous stuff.
Right.
It's like, oh, what's the Disney formula for a stoolie butler? Boom.
Boom.
We found it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's
so, but I did like him better. This is where he came back when he started the dance sequence, what he was doing in that whole thing when he was undercover. I was in. When Anna got shot, I don't know about you guys, I was actually surprised. I know, Alil, you said it was kind of inevitable, but it took me by surprise when it happened.
I thought it would be Jarvis. I didn't really think it would be Anna. I thought he'd take.
They're not going to shoot up Jarvis. They're not going to make it threatening that Jarvis could die yet because he's got to be around for Tony. So he's not a good one to shoot.
Yeah, but you can.
Anna's a great one to shoot because she dies. There's motivation for him, and what ended up happening to her once again, like we talked about, is solid motivation.
Right. Yeah, it had a lot of good elements. You know, when you take, like you said, you take these last couple, and man, the action shot forward. It all made sense. It flowed really good. I kind of question some of the transitions. Like, why did they just randomly shoot into the ball without seeing that Wilkes was inside it? Of course, it creates this, whatever, containment thing he's got up inside him with all the zero matter.
Right.
And it like pulls him back out. With the surprise from Peggy that Jarvis shot. What's her name? It's like, how is that not how did you not know he was carrying a gun?
Oh, you mean now you're in episode 9 when he walked out there and shot Whitney.
Whitney, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I was digging Jarvis here. He was motivated. He was a man of action. The fact that he went right out there and shot her was crazy.
It was, and then Peggy treated it like a mommy moment, and he's like, "Well, it's like it's not a mommy moment. They just shot his wife point blank in the stomach just so they could get away." And, you've got basically Whitney needs to be destroyed. Whitney needs to be gone. And
that was total Marvel Comics too, because if you read the books, how, they always try to make the characters human and have their human emotions, that type of thing. This character is going to flip. They're going to get revenge. There's going to be repercussions of some sort. That to me rang very true. In fact, I think that's why this is working. These are ringing true of the older Marvel Comics right now, whereas the first part was ringing true of like TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alil, you've been quiet again.
No.
I thought you disappeared on us. Like, I've had enough. You guys suck.
I'm out of here. No, but you're right. It is the basic writing that most, not even Marvel, it's comic writing.
It is.
He's with you. He's a good man. He's this, and then here's the turn to the dark side, and he's going to make a bad choice that's going to put
classic hero's journey stuff. Yeah, totally. But I like that. I'm glad they're doing that finally, because it seemed like they were just writing, TV for a while there.
Yeah, but it's to me, it's a little too late. Like, I would rather see more of Bad Wilkes, more of them taking chances. I mean, so we get to the point that they're opening the hole, and they shoot it down with a gamma cannon. I mean, and here's lazy writing. All of a sudden, they get a fax from Tony Stark or Howard Stark about building a gamma cannon like out of nowhere. It's like, this is terrible. Like, I was so mad at that part. I liked the gamma cannon. I liked little.
I know, but I was so ticked at that too. It was like, really? He's just gonna send over a thing, and what's his name? Stanhoff or Sipowicz or whatever. Samberly happens to be the guy who's like, these are schematics. I could build this. Although I gotta say,
at it and says, this is a gamma cannon.
The other thing I gotta say, don't make Jarvis your comic relief. This guy Samberly is actually funny.
He is, although
and I love that Sousa is irritated by him.
He's funny to a point, though. Like, you can only so many times saying, "Oh, you can do this? Of course I can do this." Right. Like that gets old. I mean, that's his shtick. And toward the end, I wanted Sousa to punch him.
Well, I did too, but I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was wasted. I thought that he was fine. They were pushing it a little. They're beating the dead horse a little too much. Hey, we're we do that too, so I'm good with that.
They repeated "nobody knows my name" thing like way too much again on this episode. Like, dude, you've already, like Sousa said, you've already been in the field with us,
right?
And then he was like, "Well, okay, well, what's my middle name then?"
Yeah, that was stupid.
But yeah, they really want us to be annoyed at this guy but I thought they tried too hard. I felt like, nobody's that annoying. Like, get over Samberly. Like, at some point, I wanted to tell Sousa, look, he's just a goofy scientist. Why don't you just live with it?
Right.
I don't know. I got tired of it after a while.
Yeah, see, I did like it, though. I did like that character. I know people are probably like, oh, it's stupid. It needs something. And I thought this was okay. And I loved Peggy in these episodes. I thought Peggy was back to being Peggy and not just like Mooney. And I mean, she's doing what she does. She should just be in charge, doing her thing. She's the hero of the show. And I thought tonight she was.
Yeah, I like the fact when she faced down with the Chief Thompson. And yes, I've got dirt on you. Finally, Peggy, I've got dirt. And she just looked at it and.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like, this is crap.
This came right at the moment where, you really needed it. And she just, meh, and walked off. I thought that was awesome. That was classic Peggy Carter.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
I'm not even going to. And then they tried to take it one step further with the big boss. Well, we've all got something on each other.
Yeah, right. That was lazy.
Part didn't fit for me well because Peggy doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like, it would have played better if what they had on Peggy was legit. Like, something like, I don't want to say awful because they never want to pan her as awful. They were in the war, stuff happened. But
it could be something even tied to Captain America. It could be something about that time period, and you'd be like, oh, crap. Yeah, I thought there would be something, and there was nothing.
The fact that he got crap, what does he have? What did Sousa do? Sousa's done nothing. There's nothing there. He did nothing wrong. He tried to stop this.
Right.
Jack has got some demons and some skeletons. You could tell he's that kind of guy. But Peggy and Sousa had nothing. And that's where it kind of was like, this is not playing well. I don't see them trusting this. And then, of course, we get the switch on the switch on the switch.
Right.
Right. Which we don't even know if it really, it didn't explode. It was actually Wilkes had exploded. So the gamma ray thing never even worked in the end. And we don't even know if Jack's still alive.
No, because he blocked it. He blocked it. We don't like, he had that thing that was blocking.
Right, he used that thing that blocked it.
And they didn't, and that's how it ended. They were all pointing guns at each other, and that's when, Wilkes went in there.
Yeah, and Wilkes exploded. Zero matter. So, to me, Jack is gone. Jack's a no-go from here.
No,
unless he becomes like a whole other character.
At one point in this,
not Jack. You mean Red Foreman?
Oh, Red.
Yeah,
Red.
Jack is outside.
Yeah, Red Foreman is gone. I'm telling you right now, this is where it got a little. As much as I enjoyed it, this is where it kind of fell off again. It's just like, I think it was episode 5, maybe it was 6. They wrote off Sousa's girlfriend, who I thought was going to come back and be something important. Gone. Oh, I'm upset about Peggy. Gone. Red, big threat, blow up, gone. No remorse. There's no story there. It's just gone. And I thought they were about to do the same thing with Thompson. I was like, you've had this guy around for 2 years. And there was a point actually in this one before he did that flip. I thought he really flipped. I didn't want his flip to be, I'm doing my own thing here. I'm going to blow this up, and I wanted him to flip and have him really do what we thought he was doing. Take that position in the council. That would have been really good. The double blind, I didn't care for as much.
Well, I don't think that's played out yet.
Again, I think they're playing it too safe though, because it did play out because he was trying to kill them all. Like, if he killed them all, there's no seat for him on the council. He's got no connection. And
if they do that, how do they bring him back if they bring the show back? They can't.
Well, I just think that proves my point, because if Whitney's gone, it's just a I think it was just a ruse to kind of keep her on the line, because if indeed she gets blown up, there's no table to sit at. So I think, that's why I thought that one particular instance, he's really not looking at a seat at the table. He's looking to destroy Whitney Frost, and maybe that's a backup plan. Should she live through this, then he's got a place.
Right, true.
But I really
But we might be leading too much into it, because I don't know if the writing was that sophisticated here.
Well, no, because Red figured it out. Whitney knows now that Thompson tried to kill her. So there's no real seat at the table for him.
Right.
So I think that's a moot point. I just wonder where it's going to go. It really made me excited. It really, okay, man, this could go this way. This could go that way. Where are they going to fit this in the MCU? It really took off to a great point, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was taking off, but I don't know if it actually did take off to a great point. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I really dug Wilkes walking in and blowing up. That was pretty awesome. Does that mean
was awesome? He just like a whole universe full of black matter came out of him.
Yeah. Now, do we think that she's not Madame Mask, that she's done now? Did she blow up real good in that?
I don't think so. I think they strike a balance. It's like yin and yang. Where there's a Wilkes, there's
where there's a Wilkes, there's a way. You're the worst, Jack. I think it was Charlie was saying something about them being Cloak and Dagger. That seems really weird to me, but I kept getting a Cloak and Dagger vibe out of them tonight. You guys get that one? I mean, I know they're not Cloak and Dagger because of what Cloak and Dagger are, but that he's the darkness and, envelops, and she's this blonde and all that. I was like, this is something about, he might be right. There's something to that.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about it too, because Charlie brought it up, but I don't buy it. I mean, again, they're not using characters the way that we think, and I think the Madame Mask thing is out the window.
I do too.
That's
unfortunately, I thought that was a cool way to go.
No, I don't think it's out the window. I think it's a parallel. It's a reflection of what Madame Mask is, and I think she really was that.
Do you think that's the route they're going? Is like these are the original prototypes for what these things become? Because
I think so.
I think that's kind of weak. I would rather see those characters, if they're in a different era, play them in a different era.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I think you misunderstand what I'm saying. I think they're going to use Madame Mask, and for corporate or some other reason, Madame Mask never actually gets called Madame Mask. But there's no mistaking that she's Madame Mask. I think that for some reason, that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agents of Carter.
Agents of Carter. I love that.
That prepositions aside, that these characters are going to be who we know they are, but they will never be named. It'll be like the Harry Potter villain, he who shall not be named, but we know it's him or her. And I think we've just talked about this so many times, and I think we just have to come up with the conclusion that they're mirroring characters, except for Deathlock. What other character other than Deathlock has been as clearly defined?
Yeah.
Quake. Daisy.
Yeah. Well, we're about to get it from Ward.
Right.
Because didn't they confirm that he's Hive?
Yeah, they confirmed that he's Hive.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be
my words.
Now, are you the one that said it?
Yes.
I'd like to take credit for it. Can I take credit?
No.
Good.
Alil, did you mark your words?
I don't remember.
If he didn't, I marked my words.
Oh, Rob gets credit. Sorry.
Oh,
good call, Alil.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited. We're gonna put you in the Nuff Said Hall of Fame.
We interviewed Hive.
We did.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you should do. We should have like a little replay of that or something.
Well, it's on the feed. I suppose I could repost it.
Yeah, you like do something in front where, right here when we interviewed Ward, who is now Hive.
Yeah.
And we'd like to replay that because he was here on the Nuff Said podcast.
That's right. And he was lying to us because he knew he was Hive. Even though he didn't.
Do you think he knew back then? Or was that one of
not.
those things like later on, they're like, oh, by the way.
No, absolutely not.
Thought he knew by then.
There's no way he knew.
Yeah,
I don't even
no
think
way.
the right knew.
You're right.
They listened to the show. They're like, that's who we're going to make him. Alil's right. Hi. Okay.
I want to bring up one other thing from that dance number. I think that another thing, like when you said it works when Dottie's on, I think it worked when her friend Anna was on too.
Yeah, what was that about?
Well, she was
like
in
they
the
pulled
dream.
her out of nowhere.
But I loved that. I was like, oh yeah, like we're kind of missing that type of character here.
I wonder if they're going to bring her back, or was that just you remember this thing?
I think they'd bring her back. I mean, no way by next episode. But if they get a next season and they put Peggy back in New York, I think she's back. And I don't think, are there any characters in California that we give a crap about? Doesn't matter if they're in California. Why are they even there? Production.
Yeah, but that just doesn't make sense. You could have production in New York, and you could have it in Tennessee for all that matter. It doesn't matter where it is.
Well, I know.
Create whatever you want to create.
I don't know, man.
I'd say it goes back to New York, just because I think it's a lark. What's Sousa's marriage or, pending marriage is done.
Have we seen, I can't remember, was Howard in this season? He was in one episode, wasn't he?
Yes, he was in early on, episode 2, maybe?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a flashback or something.
No, because he did something. I can't remember what. No, it was episode 2. It was episode, because he worked with Wilkes. They were working together.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And Howard said that he impressed him with his, smarts, and Wilkes was thanking him for letting him stay in his home, blah, blah, blah.
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it seems like he's just kind of was here for a minute, but it was great last season when we had him as a character on this show.
Yeah.
And we're going to get him in the finale, too.
Oh, we are? I watched it on Hulu, I believe, and there was no preview.
Oh, yeah. So the preview, we know Whitney lives because she comes out. It continues right from that scene that ended. She actually comes out with all the zero matter, it looks like. Then they show Howard because they need Howard to help contain it. And I think the zero matter turns into the monolith.
Oh, all right.
No, you think so?
Did you see the preview, Jack?
They didn't show the zero matter as the monolith, but I'm thinking with Howard building a containment unit for it and how that thing moved around, like if they're able to extract
it, definitely moved around like it.
Yeah, maybe, but when they had the thing where they went to the other planet. And they had that flashback to the 1870s, and the monolith, they had a version of that back then.
Right.
Yeah, but that was just zero matter.
Yeah, exactly. Just different zero matters that they have, because they have the zero matter all over the place. Because look, like when it overtakes Wilkes here and he's strapped down and you see his skin moving, it moves like Ward's skin did at the end.
Yes,
that is true.
What they're doing to us is telling us, like, hey, guys, Agent Carter is going to tell you about the zero matter and what happened in a Ward, and then you're going to see how he turns into Hive.
Yep. That's exactly it. Do you think it'll end with some cheesy, like, I hope this never falls into the wrong hands?
Always. Of course it's going to say it.
Oh.
And it's going to be from Manetti, like the goofy mafia guy.
Oh, no. Hey,
That'll be
Mama,
like
I
the
hope
last
this doesn't fall
injustice.
into the wrong hands.
And spoiler alert, because if you watch the preview for next week, Eddie and everybody is against Whitney. Like, he is even on the side of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The mobster?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in the preview. It was like, yeah, we got to do something about Whitney or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, and it kind of made me wonder, but if she really was Madame Mask, there would have to be some continuation. I think Whitney's at the conclusion is the end of Whitney.
I think so, too.
I think she goes like in a big ball of flame.
I think they did a lot to make us think it was Madame Mask, and maybe this is the only Madame Mask we ever get in the MCU if they use it that way. Maybe this was the story they used, which is a little weird. I like being, second guessing and like rewriting or whatever, but we never, if this is what they do for Madame Mask and that's the end of that, it's like, well, this is a good character. You just kind of waste it.
Right.
By never actually revealing the character.
I think if they never really do it, she's just Whitney. She was a good villain. And then there's still freedom to do things. I just have a feeling that when they sold all these characters and they licensed all this stuff, I think it's a sign that they're so much more careful about who is what and what character gets to be spoken. And I think they're overly cautious now. I mean, what do you think?
Could be right.
I think it's just going to be an ongoing pattern. Like, we'll see. Like, will Ward actually? We know he's going to be Hive. Let's see if they ever actually say the word Hive.
Well, you know what? They did it with Lash.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You know what they're going to do? To do it with these. I think Madame Mask for them has weight because it's a female supervillain. And those are a dime a dozen. But Hive is a dime a dozen villain. Like, he's not important to the massive. It's not that they're using Dr. Doom or Magneto or somebody else. They can drive that name. The biggest name they've used is, Deathlock. I mean, like you said earlier, that's the biggest name they use. And I think it's because there was nowhere to put him in this universe. There was nowhere to put him yet. And you know what? Let's burn him here on S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's no big deal in the overall cinematic universe. And
they can always reapproach him in the cinematic universe, and they've got Deathlock technology they can play with now.
Exactly. But if the others are so burnable, then why not just name them? This is we all know what they're doing, but sometimes trying to get to that why to me is like, okay, what's the advantage into not calling Madame Mask?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
No.
Why
Something
play around with it when we all can tell who the character's supposed to be?
Right. And maybe that's part of the allure is the people that know just know. We're all part of that club.
Yeah.
So where do you see it going? I mean, we still got how many episodes left?
One
episode. So it's got to
all be resolved. I think, Alil, I think you're right. I think it's the end of Whitney. I think that now, I don't know if what's his name, if Wilkes is going to just be gone after his explosion, or if we'll see him like disappear and know that he becomes a hero or something somewhere else. I don't know. I mean, he could be a wholly original hero that disappears and is kind of the beginning of that type of character, but we've never really heard of him because he just went away. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do think it's gonna wrap up neatly. I do think it's gonna end up being what they call the monolith, and that's how they're gonna end it.
The one thing that tells me that we're gonna see more of Wilkes is the fact that at the very end, when he ducks out, he gets the information about where the uranium rods are. And I don't think anybody really thought he was going to shoot Peggy just because she's Peggy. Thought that was a waste of time.
Right.
But when he did figure it out, he drops the shot. He like runs. He's holding things.
I wanted that too. I wanted him to actually turn.
But I think they've really set up something now that he can control being invisible and not. Why would you do that? Except for that one scene, if there's they're not going to use it later. No. To me, there's another step in that. I really think
I hope
Wilkes
so.
I really think he's going to come back now that he's got control. He's not going to need the containment unit anymore, and he's that guy that can walk through walls now.
That was a sweet scene when he went through the wall of the truck.
Yeah. I mean, the look on Peggy's face was priceless because it's like, wait a minute.
And ditch the freaking love story with them. Enough.
Well, I think that's over. I think
make him Dr. Manhattan. He's above all that. He's off in the ozone. You know what I mean?
I think they already established that because when he sided with Whitney, it was as if, okay, well, we're just all to assume that this love story is over now because he chose that path. And Peggy's, her whole thing now is, well, you're still a good man. But it was very clear that you're no longer my lover, but you're a good guy. You're still a good guy. It was like the let's be friends speech.
Yikes.
So, I really think that's what it was. I thought,
poor Wilkes getting the let's be friends speech.
I know, you've got like the whole power of the universe and you just got friended. You put in the friend zone.
Oh, poor Wilkes.
I know.
He's like,
right?
I thought I was going to the negative zone. No, dude. It's the friend zone.
Wah, 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 wah. So what else do you got for us?
All right. Did we talk these episodes out?
I think they're done.
All right. Before we talk Deadpool, because let's just talk Deadpool. But before we do that, I want to highlight something. This week at the library, I picked up, there was a book that came out at Christmas. It's called Amazing, Fantastic, Incredible, A Marvelous Memoir. It's by Stan Lee, Peter David, and Colleen Doran. Have you guys seen this book?
No.
Okay. So it's Stan Lee's memoir, right? I pick it up at the library because I thought, I'll check this thing out. I open it up. It's a graphic novel. And it's the story of Stan Lee, written by Stan Lee with Peter David. At first I started reading it. I'm right at the beginning. I'm like, this is all right. It's not great. It just kind of seemed average. I get about 3-4 pages into it and I'm like hooked. I am now halfway through it and absolutely love it. I think it's a really cool book. It's not one I'm going to end up buying. I don't think I'm going to revisit this, but it is cool because it is Stan Lee telling his story literally in just a comic book form.
How long is it? Because it sounds like quite a read.
It's a graphic novel. I mean, how long are those? 70 pages, 80 pages, something like that. It's just, I haven't had a lot of time to sit and read. So I'm editing and I'll just stop while I'm editing or while it's processing. And I read a couple of pages and then I put it down. So like I said, I'm about halfway through. I've been reading it for a couple of days. I'll probably finish it tonight, but I'm surprised you guys hadn't seen this one. It looks really cool. I actually checked out a couple of Marvel books, or I put on hold a couple of Marvel books. There's one that's like I think I talked about it on here before. It's like the untold story of Marvel, The Secret History. Do you guys ever see that one?
I've seen that one.
That's a good book. I've read the first, third of it, had to go back to the library, and I thought, I'm just going to buy it. Well, I haven't seen it to buy it since, so I put it on hold. So when I finish this, I'll read that. And then there's another one, which it's like got an orange cover, and it's like more like the history of Marvel or something. But I had read a book review that said it's really good. So I thought, you know what? I'll get that one next. So
that book,
which one?
The Untold History of Marvel.
Yeah.
Which I've been reading a lot about lately because for some odd reason, it just seems like every few years, Stan Lee's legacy comes into question. So that book comes in and basically talks about Kirby and Ditko kind of really creating the Marvel Universe, not Stan Lee. And that's kind of where that book really kind of...
Yeah, I kind of got that impression, but I also... to me, that's not what I'm reading it for. So I think if you're looking for that, you're going to find it. Because it definitely is like pro those guys, and Stan Lee was like a copy editor or whatever, you know? But at the same time, I think it's a good read. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, his reputation does come into question. Well, he's a figurehead, you know? And that's going to happen.
I
Oh, yeah.
It's, you know, it is.
I think history gets told by the guy who's writing the book.
Right.
So of course.
And in this case, Stan Lee wrote it. It's his memoir.
Right. And, you know, on the other book, there were other hands in that. So I'm sure, you know, they have their version. But I think the point is that there's a couple good reads out there. And you know, maybe we could find some more interesting stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm recommending this one. I mean, they had it at the library. I already forgot the name. What is it? It's Amazing, Fantastic, Incredible. And, you know, it is Stan Lee, so it is a lot of him posturing and a lot of him, you know, oh, I'm the greatest. That's his shtick. I love Stan Lee. I've been a fan for a long time, regardless of whether he's the, you know, the catalyst for the whole thing or not. I find him to be a real interesting character. And I've said it before, you know, he was a big influence. When I read those Origin comic books where he had the forewords and he, you know, he's just talking to, I just really connected with those when I was a kid, and it stayed with me. Obviously, that's why I wanted to do this show.
Right.
You know, it was that. Right. And do I think, you know, yeah, I've got a big Jack Kirby book here. I've got a bunch of his, you know, comics. I mean, do I think all these guys are important? Yeah. I think if they did the same kind of thing, it's just Stan Lee knows how to promote himself.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, man. It's like League of Geeks. Yeah, I gave you a little plug there, Lil.
There you go.
With a Z.
See. So, all right. Deadpool. Jack, please tell me you saw it.
I have not seen it.
Oh, son of a God.
Well,
all right.
today,
we're not going to spoil it. We're just going to talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alil, you hated it, right?
No, I absolutely loved it.
Spoiler, Alil hated it.
It's, if you like Deadpool, you'll like my show, The League of Geeks. Because it's as deviant and dirty as our show.
Yes.
That's all. I mean, it's an hour and 40 minutes of, you know, potty humor.
It is. But you know what? There's a lot more to it than that. And I think I was nervous about a couple of things. One is that the comic book is not full of potty humor the same way. And I thought this is going to be just, you know, Police Academy in a Deadpool costume. And then I was nervous about the fourth wall thing. And I got to say, I feel the opposite now. I loved it. I loved that movie. I thought the way they handled the fourth wall was excellent.
Yep.
Didn't bother me in any way. In fact, it felt natural. Do I want to see that happen? Like if I'm watching an X-Men movie and they bring Deadpool in because you know that's going to happen now, if he does it there, I'm not going to be so happy. But in the Deadpool universe, in the movies that are specifically Deadpool as the principal character, no problem with it, man. I really liked how they handled it. And I did think Ryan Reynolds was perfect for it.
My only concern with that whole thing is all the guys that are going to do copies.
Okay.
Like, you know, what they did with Rocky, and
yeah,
I think they're going to.
Well, look at DC. DC immediately. It came out, I think, was it today? There was a thing that DC is saying, well, the director's cut of Batman v Superman is going to be R. You guys are missing the point.
Exactly.
About why Deadpool was so good. First of all, it
they're
had
just
a great script.
They're going to make it R just to be R. And
right.
It's not Right. It's not going to be part of the story because Deadpool is Deadpool. Deadpool is the assassin with the mouth.
Right.
We know that, but that's not part of the formula. We're just going to make random stuff for adults.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And the fact that they're saying, Wolverine's going to be R-rated, it's like, you know what? I don't really care. I hope they're not doing that because they're jumping on this like, hey, we're the R-rated Marvel Universe now. It's like, okay, well, that's great. And I think actually Wolverine should be R-rated. I think that you're constrained otherwise there.
I don't know. I think on some of those things, you lose some of your audience because
you definitely do.
You still had all these knuckleheads that brought their 10-year-old kid into the movie, despite the R rating.
Did you? He's not talking. Alil, did you take your kids to the movie?
No.
He said knuckleheads bringing their kids in. I'm like, Alil?
No.
Well, Rod, you're one to talk because you put a picture of Molly up there in front of the movie poster and clearly said in the opening paragraph, yes, I am not a bad parent. She did not see the movie, but 15 knuckleheads got on there.
Yes. Well, I did that on purpose.
I know, but it was so funny that every one of them started making comments without having actually read the opening paragraph. She's just there. No, she did not see the movie.
Well,
and
no,
the
wait,
very
Jack,
opening
hold on. To be fair,
I can't believe you let her see the movie.
To be fair, I posted the picture without saying that.
Oh, you did? Because what I saw, the comment, I just assumed that was part of the original comment. That must have been a reply.
I was playing with people because I wanted to see if people would actually think I would take Molly to see this thing. There is no way.
There's no way that anybody would elect Trump for president, and he's won 3 primaries. So don't say no way.
There's no way that I would.
That's true, but things are just getting crazy. But people did, and that's the whole thing. And some of them even had the balls to complain that they didn't know this was going to be so R-rated.
Yeah.
And then somebody
guess
said,
what? It's R-rated.
Right. You should not be taking your kids to R-rated movies. That's why we have ratings. But people do it anyway. They're stupid.
Yeah.
Unless you listen to this show and you're freaking brilliant.
All right. Yeah, man. I just loved it. I thought the action in it was excellent. And they made this thing for what? What was it? 50 million?
58 million.
God. It doesn't look like a $58 million movie. How about I Am in a
Wait. Back up. What doesn't look like $58 million is a lot of money.
Not when you consider the amount of effects and things going on in this. This looks like it cost a heck of a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know.
The budget for Ant-Man was $170 million.
Jeez. Yeah, but then you got Paul Rudd.
I'm sorry, $140 million. I think it was one of the lower ones.
Wow. They had some cool stuff, though. I actually liked Paul Rudd. I have not liked Paul Rudd in almost anything because he's just, it's always just Paul Rudd. It's like the same character over and over. I don't know. It works for Clint Eastwood. It just doesn't work for me for Paul Rudd. But I really liked him in Ant-Man, but that I could see. I mean, they really had some real special effects, but $58 million is still, that's a lot of money.
Not for a superhero movie.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay. But go on.
Not just for a superhero movie.
Yeah, and actually for the amount of CGI and the amount of effects in this thing, and as good as they look. Jack, usually a movie that costs that kind of money today, the effects don't look so good.
And I'm sorry.
And maybe it's not because of the price. Maybe it's just because they didn't do a good job.
I'm going to correct myself. Ant-Man was $130 million, but still, that is half of. Or Deadpool was half.
Right. That is amazing, but $50 million is still.
It is. It's still a lot.
That should get you some Pixar.
No.
Oh, it can't.
No. No, not really. But yeah, I mean, I thought this thing, it looked great. How about, I am going to spoil something at the end. That is a freaking helicarrier that they're fighting on.
Yes, it is.
And as we were watching it, I'm thinking, how the hell is there a helicarrier in this? There was a character that was an agent from S.H.I.E.L.D., and there was a helicarrier in it. And, a few days later, it was confirmed it is definitely a helicarrier. They said the design is a little bit different. I don't care. You still had a helicarrier. You're still referencing S.H.I.E.L.D., which is an integral part of the MCU. Do you smell smoke here, Alil?
No. Because they were very aloof with their discussion. There was no S.H.I.E.L.D. sign, nothing. They really kind of didn't focus in as much out. You could see it in the background. They didn't do it. Hydra Bob was just Bob. No, I don't see the smoke here yet. And Jack, to talk to you about what you said about Pixar, Cars 2, one of the worst Pixar movies, $200 million production budget.
Right.
Wow.
So no, Deadpool.
Well, I mean,
a Pixar movie for what Deadpool cost.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they went to like India or something. I don't know, but just still seems like a lot of bread.
No, I think that
I'm
they
not
just
arguing
were.
the point. I'm just saying, $15 million is still $58 million.
I think they were just very choice with how they used their CGI in this thing. And I thought.
And
really
do you think Ryan Reynolds went in kind of cheap just to play the part?
Yes.
He had
to get the stink of Green Arrow off of him.
His salary was $2 million, but he's going to make 10 at the end of the day, at least, based on kickers for what the movie made.
Right. And so, maybe you start adding some of the add-ons, but, do you think this, like, he's got the stink is gone?
Yes.
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 That's
to me,
worth it. That is awesome.
He was laughable for a while. And especially Green Lantern was so awful. And there are things I like in it. That's what really sucks. There's parts of it that I like, and he's not even terrible in it. He's just not, he doesn't have the charisma of like Chris Pratt in Guardians. And he should, for the character they were trying to build there, even though he's drastically different. Here, when he's playing in the MCU or he's playing in Marvel, he's got the charisma. He was spot on for this character. I also love that, like, here's a guy, he even makes a joke about how, Ryan Reynolds can't act. He's just a pretty boy. He makes that joke himself in the movie. Yet he spent most of the movie scarred and looking terrible.
Yep.
Well,
they didn't pretty Deadpool up in this thing.
So do you think he's like they're like new Iron Man? Like, he's like
not
totally
MCU,
into this. He has like a little bit of artistic say. He's got a horse in the race, as they say.
Not yet. He's got a horse in the race. That's for sure. Hugh Jackman, I think, is kind of passing the torch to him, to the Deadpool character. It depends on what happens with these X-Men movies, but Wolverine is not going to be long for these X-Men movies now. So you've got X-Men 3 or Wolverine 3, and then he's done. And
so
unless they recast Wolverine,
Deadpool, or are they going to make him?
No,
Wolverine?
I think what they'll do is they'll focus. No, he'll stay as Deadpool. I think they'll focus on their attentions on Deadpool and keep doing the ensemble X-Men films. But they've had Wolverine as an anchor for quite a while, and they're not going to have him unless they recast. And they missed their golden opportunity to recast when they did Days of Future Past. And now with Age of Apocalypse, you're going to have Hugh Jackman there, but that timeline, it shouldn't be Hugh Jackman if you want to have a younger guy or a different guy.
Right. That would have been the perfect timing. So they're now either going to have to create something, or suddenly the new guy's the new guy.
Yeah, it's a little funky. Do you think they'll try and explain it away in the movie, like something will happen that? Because at the end of Days of Future Past, when they had Wolverine at the bottom of the lake, I thought, okay, this is what they're going to do. They're going to kind of rewrite this history so that when he does get recast, he looks different. But they didn't recast him.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like one of those hangers on, and he's kind of gone past what everybody thought. But I think they'll just do something different when it comes up, when it happens. They'll center something around it.
I also think that they thought that Fantastic Four. I think the reason Deadpool wasn't greenlit is it was a riskier move originally, and I think that they thought, okay, we're gonna expand things by doing this Fantastic Four thing, and it's gonna be great. And I think that they knew they had a turd, and that's why, because Deadpool was not greenlit at that point when that all started to go south. I think that they realized, you know what, we got to be bold. We gotta try something really crazy here. We'll go for an R-rated Deadpool movie and see if we can't build something off of that. And they got lucky because, man, if this had been Fantastic Four quality, Fox would have just a big old Marvel dump sitting over there.
Oh, yeah.
Even though their X-Men movies, the last two were fantastic.
So what made Deadpool like so different? So what made it like separated it from Fantastic Four?
It was good.
How did it get there? I mean, you think just the
it
director,
was completely different
Fox
people
got out of the way?
It was completely different people. Even though Donner, isn't her name Donner, oversaw it like she does the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
It was the writer, the director. It was a better director. That's for sure. And better casting. Yeah. I haven't seen, I told you, I saw just a little bit of Fantastic Four. Johnny Storm was the only one that stood out to me as decent. Everything else was like, ooh, wow, what's going on here?
But doesn't the director and the storyline, the cinematography create that?
It's all a mix. It's a weird balancing act making a movie and making a good one, especially. You get good actors, but if they're not cast right, that can be sketchy. You've got to have the right script, and then you have to have the right editor. Soundtrack is important. Like, all these elements are important to make a good film.
Yeah. How was the soundtrack?
I don't know. Alil?
Garbage.
Yeah.
I believe it. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard the theme.
Huh. Did they just like rehash some radio tunes, or?
A lot of them are just generic superhero score. They don't pay a lot for those scores unless they know they've got a hit.
Right. So there's part of your $58 million savings.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're talking about Deadpool?
Oh, Deadpool? Did Deadpool have a score as much as it had? Talking about?
Well, you said Fantastic Four. So
yeah, we were talking Fantastic Four.
I was talking about back to Deadpool. Well, you talking about Deadpool, and then
no, I think Fantastic.
Director, good.
I think Deadpool.
So what about the score for Deadpool?
It used pop music, but it had the right pop music.
Yeah, Deadpool is a 90s theme version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
In how they use their music.
It's like using 90s music. It had a lot of similarities in tone to Guardians. It was the R-rated mirror reflection of Guardians. If Peter Quill could be that dirty in the MCU, that's what you would have had.
It's funny though. I can't see him in that role.
I couldn't either. Jack, you are gonna love this movie too. I know you well enough. You're gonna be like, oh my God, dude. Like,
potty humor, come on.
Oh, it's so bad.
My granny used to tell me potty humor jokes when I was a kid. My granny, and she was like in her 80s. So, man, that stuff's been in my family for generations. Sounds like it's just going to be awesome.
It is.
It is, man.
So let's talk about some awesomeness, because I'm still sitting here on location, and the parking police are starting to they keep circling by and stopping and looking at my car and passing.
Some kind of pervert.
What do you mean, some kind of?
Some guy, right? Hey, 100 yards from the school. Not this type of school.
You don't know me.
I thought that was only in Washington, not here.
Hey, I might be worth 200 yards. You never know.
You are, Jack. I know. I wouldn't want to sell you short.
Hey,
so is there any other Marvel
What's
news? What's with the short jokes? Any other Marvel news, or are we done?
I'm done.
Alil?
No, we're done. We're good.
All right. Look at that. We crammed 4 episodes in, kind of. Talked about Deadpool, talked about a book.
And Family Matters, too.
Yeah, man. No, Family Ties, or no, what was it? Family Affair, something.
Full House.
Yeah, whatever.
Full House.
Garbage. I'm not doing a podcast about that.
You are. That's the 87th podcast.
Oh.
You love it.
Welcome to Full House with a Z.
Full House. Is that the guy that sells the yogurt now? Like if you eat the yogurt, you look like, what's his name?
John Stamos, yes.
Oh, John Stamos. Yeah. You know what? He was on Gallivant. He played Sir John Hamm. That was really good.
Awesome.
John Hamm.
I'd like to see him do more stuff. What superhero would John Stamos be?
John Stamos?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Hive?
No, he wouldn't be Hive.
Madam Man?
He'd be like way too happy. Like that would be like a goofy Hive. Hive eating yogurt. Come on, please.
Nobody wants a goofy Hive.
No. We'll have to save that for next. If you want to know
who John Stamos, we're recasting the Marvel universe.
That's it. Yeah, we should do that for next time. Like Boo Boo. Like Honey Boo Boo.
Oh.
Like
why? What would she be? She'd be the Hulk.
You think the Hulk? No.
No. That's silly.
That's silly. All right, we're getting punchy now.
She could be the Rhino. Couldn't be worse than Paul Giamatti in that Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Like when, she gets in, instead of a tantrum, she goes on a stampede.
When are we getting a G-rated Squirrel Girl? I'm waiting.
Good luck with that.
It's gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
No, it's like what's her name coming back? Lucy Lawless. Not gonna happen. Mark my
words.
Nope.
Oh, I'm still holding out for that. Honey Boo Boo should be Galactus when Marvel gets back the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You just see that kid flying through space eating worlds.
Oh, dude, yeah. And it's Honey Boo Boo.
It's Honey Boo Boo.
All right. I think we've ended the show. If anybody was listening, they've turned off by now.
Right. They were turned off.
I turned off about 30 minutes ago.
When you did the beginning of it shirtless, they turned it off. All right, that's it. Let's give social media one last time. The show is at Nuff Said Pod. You can find us at our website, southgatemediagroup.com/NuffSaidPodcast, or find all of our other shows there. You can find me on Twitter at rsouthgate. And let's see, what shows am I doing? I've got New Media Lab. That's a new one that I'm doing. That's one where I talk all about, ironically, new media, podcasting and blogging and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to hear me actually sound like a professional, you can hear me there. We do Live at the Blue Box. Alil joins me there every week, and Martha and Chris and Edward and all sorts of a cast of thousands. And we just do all sorts of fun, geeky, fun stuff. And that you can also see live on YouTube, Meerkat, and Periscope if you want to watch it that way, or check it out later on our YouTube channel or on the podcast. And we've got Ever After starting up again soon too. So if you like Once Upon a Time, we do a Once Upon a Time podcast with Martha and Molly and I. All right. I'm done with all those. I'm sure there's others, but moving on.
At Jay Wengrosky, and if anybody actually follows me, then I'll actually check it.
At LOGEEKZ for the League Geeks podcast.
That's it? You guys don't have anything more like pimping? You're just in, you're out. What if Honey Boo Boo was She-Hulk? You guys down with that?
No.
How
about John Stamos plays Moon Knight?
Ooh, now you're talking.
Oh,
yeah, but
like
She-Hulk's got to be She-Hulk's got to be like somebody special.
Somebody special. All right. Well, we'll find one.
All right.
You're not done with Honey Boo Boo on any of these, huh? I'm not either. She's the worst.
I like the Galactus. Vibe.
Galactus, Eater of Worlds. She could be the Yeti when they finally do the Canadian stuff.
Oh man.
You wouldn't need much makeup. Make her that bulldog. Bob or whatever. Dave.
Ouch. That's hurtful.
No, just the voice. Like Vin Rhames or whatever his name is. Vin Diesel.
Yeah. I'm just saying, those with rocks and live in glass houses.
Yeah, right.
You know.
I do live in rocks. No, I live in a glass house. Well, I live in something. I don't know. All right, are we done?
Done.
Yes.
Done. All right.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said again.
And again, enough said.
Enough said.